You know that feeling when your wife bounces into the room with that particular sparkle in her eyes? The one that usually means she's about to spend money we don't have on something we don't need? Yeah. Well, that Tuesday evening, Marissa practically floated through our front door like she just won the lottery. I was sprawled on the couch, trying to decide between watching grown men chase a ball around or a reality show where people pretend to find love in 30 days. Honey, she squealed, and I swear the windows rattled. You're never going to believe what just happened. I muted the TV and braced myself. Last time she'd said those exact words, we'd ended up with a timeshare in Florida that we visited exactly once. Clara just called, she continued, vibrating with excitement. She's invited me on the most amazing girls' trip ever. Clara, of course. Clara Martinez Blackwell, Marissa's best friend from college, was the kind of woman who probably had her morning coffee served on actual gold plates. She lived in a different stratosphere than U.S. regular folks. Let me guess, I said, knowing this was going to hurt my wallet. She wants you to fly to Paris for lunch? Marissa rolled her eyes. No, smartass. She's rented this incredible beach resort for a whole week, just the girls. Pure relaxation. Champagne every morning, spa treatments every afternoon. She plopped down next to me, her face glowing. When's the last time I got to do something like this? She had a point. Between my job at the insurance company and her work at the nonprofit, our idea of a romantic getaway was dinner at Olive Garden. How much is this going to cost us? I asked. That's the best part, she said, grabbing my hands. Clara is covering everything. She just booked the whole place and wants her closest friends there to celebrate. Celebrate what? Life being awesome? Does it matter? I had to laugh. Only Clara would spend what was probably my annual salary on a week-long party just because. Her husband, Victor, made ridiculous money in tech. I'd met him a few times. He seemed decent enough, the kind of guy who remembered your name and actually listened when you talked. So when is this magical mystery tour happening? I asked. Next week, she said, already mentally packing. The next few days were a whirlwind of shopping. Marissa bought new dresses, new swimsuits, new everything. By the time she was ready to leave, our bedroom looked like a boutique had exploded. She looked happier than I'd seen her in months, which made the credit card damage almost worth it. The morning she left, she was bouncing off the walls. You're going to have an amazing time, I told her, and I meant it. She threw her arms around me. I'm going to miss you so much. I promise, I'll call every night. I helped load her bags into the Uber that Clara had, of course, arranged. Have fun, I told her. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. That doesn't leave me with many options, she shot back with a grin. I watched the car disappear down our street, taking my wife off to paradise. I had no idea that I was watching my marriage drive away in that Uber, that she would come back carrying secrets that would destroy everything we'd built. For the first 12 hours, I lived the bachelor life. Pizza from the box, socks left where they landed, and hours of a show about guys building motorcycles. Then, around 9 p.m., I started missing her laugh. My phone buzzed with a FaceTime call. There she was, my gorgeous wife, looking like she'd stepped out of a tropical magazine spread. Behind her was paradise, crystal blue water, palm trees, and golden hour lighting. Oh my God, honey, you should see this place, she gushed. The resort looked like a billionaire's fever dream, all white marble and infinity pools. Looks like you're suffering, I said, settling back with a beer. She giggled. We just finished the most amazing dinner, and now we're about to hit the beach bar. Clara says they make these life-changing cocktails. The next night, she called again, looking even more radiant. How was your day in paradise? I asked. Oh, she said vaguely. Just girl stuff. We got massages laid by the pool. Usually, Marissa would give me a play-by-play of her day. This time, it was like she was reading from a script. Come on, give me some details, I pressed. They're actually really sweet, she said, distracted by something off-screen. Look, honey, I should probably go. Just then, I thought I saw a male figure move behind her, but it was so fast I convinced myself I'd imagined it. The third night, the pattern continued. Beautiful scenery, a glowing wife, and vague answers. But this time, I was sure I saw him. A guy in the background. Hey, was that Victor I just saw? I asked casually. She looked confused for a split second, then recovered. Oh, yeah. He stopped by earlier to check on things. You know Clara. It made sense, I guess. Rich guy makes sure rich wife has everything she needs. Still, something about her hesitation nagged at me. Is he staying at the resort too? God, no, she laughed, more naturally this time. This is girls' time. He's probably back home playing golf. That made me feel better. I miss you, I told her. I miss you too, she said, but she was already looking away. Look, I really have to go. The screen went black, leaving me with my beer and a nagging feeling that something wasn't right. But what could possibly go wrong on a simple girls' trip? Sitting in the airport arrivals area, I held a cheesy welcome home sign I'd made, complete with stick figures and hearts. I'd cleaned the house, bought her favorite flowers, and even attempted a lasagna that was likely to give us food poisoning. When I finally spotted her coming down the escalator, my heart did that stupid flutter thing. She looked incredible, tanned and relaxed in a flowy white dress. But instead of the running leap hug I was expecting, she walked over, kissed my cheek, not my lips, and said, "Hi, honey," in the same tone someone might use to acknowledge the mailman. That's it? I asked, confused. I made a sign and everything. She managed a polite smile. It's very nice. The drive home was weirdly silent. Usually Marissa would talk my ear off. This time she just stared out the window, checking her phone every 30 seconds. So, I said, trying to break the ice, was the resort as amazing as it looked? Mm-hmm, she said. Very nice. This from the woman who once gave me a 45-minute review of a chain restaurant. Come on, give me something here. Did anyone have any drama? She finally looked at me, and I saw a flash of guilt, maybe panic. Nothing like that happened. It was just relaxing, you know? Not really exciting enough for a full recap. Back home, I showed off the clean house, the flowers, the wine chilling in the fridge. Welcome home, beautiful. She gave a small, forced smile. You cooked? I attempted to cook, I corrected. I think I'm going to take a shower first, she said, heading upstairs. I heard the bathroom door lock, which was strange. She never locked it when it was just us. She came downstairs in her oldest pajamas, looking more like herself, but still distant. During our disastrous dinner, she picked at her food and made small talk. Afterward, she claimed she was exhausted and went to bed early. When I tried to put my arm around her, she tensed up. Lying there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, I knew something had happened on that trip. An invisible wall was sitting between us in bed, and I had no idea how thick it was about to get. A month? A whole month of living with a stranger who happened to share my bed. 31 days of forced smiles and a tension that hung over our house like a fog. I tried everything. Flowers, date nights, offers to go to her favorite pretentious restaurants. Nothing worked. It was like she was reading from a script written by someone who'd never actually been in love. And the phone. She clutched it like it contained the secrets of the universe, angling it away from me, leaving the room to check messages. Just work stuff, she'd say, her eyes glued to the screen. Then one Tuesday morning, something was different. I walked into the kitchen to find Marissa at the table, staring into her coffee mug. Her face was pale, her eyes red-rimmed. She had the look people get right before they tell you someone has died. We need to talk, she said, her voice a whisper. 4 words that every husband has learned to fear. I sat down, my heart picking up speed. What's going on? She took a shaky breath. I'm pregnant, she whispered. For 3 seconds, my world tilted in the best possible way. We'd been trying for months. A stupid grin spread across my face. Are you serious? We're finally going to be parents! But she didn't smile back. She just sat there looking like she was about to be sick. Marissa, I said, a cold dread creeping up my spine. What's wrong? When she finally spoke, her voice was so quiet I had to lean in. It's not yours. The words hit me like a physical blow. The kitchen seemed to tilt sideways. What did you just say? I asked, hoping I'd misheard. Tears streamed down her face. The baby, it's not yours. Whose is it? The question came out before my brain had processed anything. She was sobbing now, her whole body shaking. Victor's, she whispered. Clara's husband. And there it was. The bomb that had been ticking away for a month finally exploded. taking our marriage, our future, our entire life, and blowing it into irreparable pieces. Victor, the guy I'd shaken hands with at charity dinners. How? I asked, my brain completely shut down. The trip, she said, not looking at me. Clara had to leave for a few days, a family emergency. Victor came to help out. One night, we all drank too much, and she didn't need to finish. I could picture it. My wife, drunk on expensive wine, falling into bed with someone who represented everything I wasn't. Rich, sophisticated, successful. It just happened, she said, as if that made it okay. It was a mistake. A terrible, stupid mistake. I wanted to scream, to flip the table, but I just sat there, numb. Does Clara know? She shook her head. No, God, no. It would destroy her. And what about us? I asked. What about our marriage, Marissa? She finally looked at me, her face a mess of mascara and misery. I don't know, she whispered. I don't know how to fix this. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw them together. My wife and Victor. I kept trying to convince myself I could get past this. We could go to counseling, rebuild what she'd destroyed. But every time, I hit the same wall. The baby. Raising another man's child, being reminded every single day of her betrayal. Around 5 a.m., I went downstairs to make coffee. That's when it hit me. Clara didn't know. She was living in the same fool's paradise I had been, trusting people who didn't deserve it. Before I'd fully decided what I was doing, I found myself reaching for my phone. She deserved to know. I waited until 8 a.m., a reasonable time to deliver devastating news. Hello? Clara's voice was bright and cheerful. Hi, Clara, it's me, Marissa's husband, I said. Oh, hi, how are you? How's Marissa? She asked, explaining how crazy things had been since her mother's health scare. Actually, that's kind of why I'm calling, I said, my voice tense. I need to tell you something, and it's going to be really hard to hear. There was a pause. What is it? I took a deep breath. Marissa is pregnant, and the baby, it's not mine. The silence on the other end was absolute. I could hear her breathing, quick and shallow. I'm sorry, what did you just say? She whispered. The baby is Victor's, I said flatly. They slept together while you were in Boston. That's not possible, she said, her voice shaking. He would never. I'm not making this up, Clara. Marissa told me everything yesterday. A sound came through the phone, a wail of pure anguish that made my chest tighten. Oh, God, she whispered over and over. She was never going to tell me, was she? She was just going to let me go on being friends with her while she was carrying my husband's baby. I don't know what she was planning, I said honestly. Where's Victor? She asked, her voice hardening with anger. I have no idea. Probably at your house, getting ready for work like nothing happened. I heard something crash, followed by Clara shouting Victor's name in a voice that could shatter glass. Then the line went dead. I just set off a chain reaction that would destroy at least 2 marriages. But for the first time since Marissa's confession, I felt a sliver of satisfaction. They both deserved to face the consequences. The sound of Marissa's feet pounding down the stairs was a countdown to an explosion. What did you do? She demanded, her face flushed with fury. Good morning to you too, I said calmly. Don't you dare! Clara just called me, hysterical. How could you do that? How could you destroy her life like that? I laughed, a short, bitter sound. I destroyed her life? That's rich, Marissa. Last I checked, I wasn't the one who slept with her husband. You had no right. That wasn't your secret to share. You're right, I said, standing up. It was your responsibility. But since you seem perfectly content to let her live in ignorance, I figured someone needed to do the right thing. The right thing would have been letting me handle this my own way. Your own way? The one where Clara never finds out and I raise Victor's kid as my own? She started crying, but I felt nothing. This is going to destroy our friendship. Good, I said. Your friendship should be destroyed. Friends don't sleep with each other's husbands. She tried to defend him, to explain that it was all a complicated mistake. It was cruel, she finally said. You want to know what cruel is, Marissa? Cruel is your husband finding out he's going to be a father and being happy for 3 seconds before you tell him the baby isn't his. Cruel is lying to your best friend's face for a month. Cruel is asking the man whose life you just destroyed to keep your secrets. So, what happens now? She asked, her voice small and defeated. Now, I said, you get to live with the consequences of your choices. Now Clara gets to decide if she wants to rebuild her marriage. And now I get to figure out what the hell I'm supposed to do with the rest of my life. And us? She whispered. I looked at the woman I'd once loved and felt absolutely nothing. There is no us, I said. There hasn't been since you decided Victor was more interesting than your husband. I grabbed my keys and walked out, leaving her standing in the kitchen with her tears and her regrets. The next few weeks were a twisted version of Groundhog Day, with my cheating wife trying to convince me our marriage was worth saving. She'd leave little notes. I'm sorry, please forgive me. She cooked elaborate dinners. She even tried to guilt me. Everyone's going to think you abandoned your pregnant wife, she said. Let them think whatever they want, I told her. Anyone who knows the truth will understand. She presented her master plan. We'd stay together, I'd raise Victor's baby as my own, and we'd control the narrative. You created a permanent reminder of your betrayal, I told her. Every time I look at that kid, I'm going to remember what you did. There's something liberating about making a decision that you know is going to hurt like hell, but also set you free. I called a divorce lawyer. It was all pretty cut and dried. I didn't want the house or the furniture. I just wanted my dignity, and I wanted it legally established that the baby wasn't mine. That evening, I sat her down. I want a divorce, I said, cutting through her prepared speech about therapy. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. You don't mean that, she said. We can fix this. No, we can't. Some mistakes are too big to come back from. She cried, she bargained, she promised anything if I'd just give her another chance. But I had already emotionally checked out. I've already filed the papers, I told her when she finally ran out of steam, and I've put a deposit on an apartment. I'm moving out this weekend. I spent the rest of the week packing my life into boxes. Saturday morning, I loaded the last one into my car. Marissa watched from the kitchen window, looking lost and broken. But then I remembered what she'd done, and the sympathy faded. I got in my car and drove away without looking back. 6 months. That's how long it's been. The divorce was finalized last month. She kept the house, I kept my dignity. Clara and Victor's divorce was messier, involving millions of dollars. Clara moved to Seattle for a fresh start. Good for her. The baby was born 3 weeks ago, a boy. Dark hair, dark eyes, looks everything like his actual father. Marissa tried to put my name on the birth certificate, but a DNA test put an end to that. Victor is legally the father, paying child support. Marissa is a single mother, a permanent reminder of her worst decision. People expected me to be bitter, to want revenge, but revenge is exhausting. Staying angry takes work. Instead, I focused on myself. I started going to the gym, took a cooking class, and even started dating again. The truth is, I'm happier now than I was during those last few months of my marriage. I see Marissa around town sometimes. She looks tired. Most of her old friends have distanced themselves. She doesn't look happy, but she doesn't look like my problem anymore. Last week, she sent me a text. 3 words. I miss you. I stared at it for 30 seconds, then deleted it without responding. There was nothing to say. She'd shown me who she really was. Some bridges once burned can't be rebuilt. Some trust once broken can't be repaired. But my self-respect, that was worth more than any marriage built on a foundation of lies. I kept my self-respect. Everything else was just stuff.